What happens when two titans of the music industry find themselves in the middle of a federal storm that threatens to topple the billion-dollar empires they've built over decades? And what if one of them is allegedly ready to throw the other under the bus to save himself? The courtroom drama swirling around Sean Diddy Combs has escalated into something that seems more like a Hollywood blockbuster than real life. The twist? Yes, that. Jay-Z. Yes, that. Jay-Z is allegedly being drawn into the chaos, not as a witness, not as a spectator, but as a central figure. Rumors are burning through the entertainment world like wildfire. Diddy was just handed a plea deal, an opportunity to shave years off a potential life sentence. But here's the catch. The deal allegedly required Diddy to name names, and one of those names, according to whispers and legal speculation, is none other than Jay-Z. When Diddy walked into court in his beige prison uniform, the atmosphere was tense. No family, no entourage, no support. Just a man, once hailed as hip-hop royalty, now reduced to a defendant facing a mountain of charges. Racketeering, sex trafficking, and enough salacious accusations to fuel a dozen documentaries. But instead of taking the deal, Diddy looked the government square in the eye and said, no, that's right. He refused to cooperate, refused to snitch. And in prison culture, that makes him a man of principle, or a fool with a death wish, depending on who you ask. But while Diddy's mouth stays shut, his eyes are allegedly locked on Jay-Z. Because, as sources claim, it was Jay-Z who advised Diddy not to take the deal in the first place. Why? Because a plea deal would mean putting others on the stand, and if Diddy starts naming names, Jay-Z's name might top the list. It's a high-stakes game of chicken, and Jay-Z seems to be sweating, not outwardly, of course. He's too polished, too composed, too rehearsed. But behind closed doors, there are murmurs, whispers of fear. Jay-Z has a lot to lose. His billion-dollar brand, his curated image, his queen, Beyoncé. And if even a fraction of the accusations floating around become public record, it won't just be his legacy that burns, it'll be everything he's built. Jay-Z's past isn't squeaky clean either. Rewind to 1999. The glitz of the Kit Kat Club in Manhattan. A stabbing, a party gone wrong, and Jay-Z turning himself in for allegedly stabbing music executive Lance Rivera. He later pleaded guilty to third-degree assault. It was a moment that nearly derailed his career. Fast forward 2 decades, and he's now being named again. But this time, not for a barroom brawl. Now it's something darker, something more organized, something that smells like a criminal enterprise spanning years. In a lawsuit filed in Florida, an accuser named Joseph Menzaro dropped bombshell allegations. He claims he was drugged, transported against his will, and sexually humiliated at a party linked to Diddy. But this wasn't just any party. According to the suit, Jay-Z and Beyoncé were there, sitting in the room, watching, silent, complicit. Menzaro says he was paraded around in a grotesque mask while partygoers laughed and jeered. It sounds like fiction, but it's part of a growing stack of allegations painting a sinister picture of the parties, power, and perversions that allegedly lurked behind the velvet ropes of hip-hop's elite. The Estefans, Gloria and Emilio, were also mentioned in the lawsuit. Their Miami mansion allegedly housed secret tunnels that shuttled victims to and from freak-off parties. Drug-fueled sexual marathons orchestrated by Diddy and company. The Estefans denied any involvement, saying no such parties occurred on their property. They even offered documentation to support their claim. Meanwhile, Jay-Z and Beyoncé's representatives denied their involvement too, dismissing the allegations as baseless and absurd. But the accuser claims otherwise, saying that they witnessed everything. Back inside prison walls, Diddy is reportedly furious. Betrayal is a theme that echoes louder than ever in his cell. He believes Jay-Z is preparing to flip, to cut his own deal with federal investigators. According to insiders, Diddy has been heard yelling that Jay-Z is a snitch and he doesn't care who hears it. The tension between the former collaborators has turned toxic, with threats flying and loyalties shattered. Diddy, once the king of bad boy records, now finds himself in a battle of survival against prosecutors, against the media, and allegedly against his one-time ally. This isn't just a story of 2 artists. This is about an empire, about the machinery of fame, money, and exploitation. Diddy and Jay-Z didn't just rise to the top of the music industry, they built the top. They controlled it, shaped it, molded it in their image. But now, that image is cracking, the foundation is rotting, and the rot is starting to show. Jay-Z's reputation as the calm, calculated businessman who could maneuver through any storm is now in jeopardy. The allegations, while unproven, stick like tar. They raise questions. Was Jay-Z simply present at the wrong place and the wrong time? Or was he an architect of the system now unraveling around him? People are starting to question everything. How much of the Carter family's pristine image is just a cover? What deals were made in the shadows? And if Diddy does decide to flip at the last moment, what secrets might he spill? The thing about secrets is that they don't stay buried forever, especially not when federal prosecutors are involved. They've built cases on less. They don't make offers unless they already have evidence. And if they offer Diddy a deal, it means they're sitting on something explosive, something they think is worth trading years of a sentence for, which begs the question, what does Diddy know that makes him so valuable? According to sources close to the investigation, the feds believe that Diddy's enterprise was massive, sprawling, and well-organized. But he wasn't acting alone. There were partners, silent ones with resources and influence. And Jay-Z's name keeps circling back like a bad penny. It's all speculation, of course, allegations, hearsay. But that hasn't stopped the public from piecing together timelines, comparing party guest lists, and digging up old footage. Internet sleuths are working overtime. Every photo, every statement, every appearance is being analyzed under a microscope. And Diddy, sitting in his cell, knows that. He knows his silence buys him some honor behind bars, but it might also be his downfall. If Jay-Z is cutting deals, protecting his brand, and erasing his digital fingerprints from every piece of evidence, then Diddy might be the only one left holding the bag. There's also the wild card, Beyoncé. Her name has now appeared in court documents, not as a defendant, but as someone who was allegedly present at these parties. And that's enough to raise eyebrows. The queen of pop, the feminist icon standing silent while abuse took place? That narrative doesn't sit well with the public. It threatens to crack the illusion. The industry is in panic mode. Every major player is keeping their head down. Publicists are working overtime. Lawyers are preparing statements. Damage control is the name of the game. Because when trials like this start, no one knows how far the fire will spread, and no one wants to be caught in the blaze. The plea deal that Diddy rejected might be the most critical decision of his life. On the surface, it seems like a bold stand, a refusal to cooperate, to save face, to keep the so-called code. But beneath that, there's fear. Fear that if he talks, his enemies will come for him, not just in prison but beyond. That if he points the finger at Jay-Z, there might be repercussions so severe even federal protection can't shield him. But here's the kicker. In the world of hip-hop elite, silence isn't just golden, it's survival. And while Diddy's behind bars, allegedly tossing around threats like confetti, Jay-Z is probably somewhere in a luxury penthouse pretending his phone's on airplane mode. Because nothing says, "I don't want to testify," like a sudden yoga retreat in the Swiss Alps. And let's be real, this isn't just about two music moguls. This is about power, image, and who can dodge the federal bullet the longest without catching a headline. While Diddy paces the cell floor muttering about loyalty and betrayal, you can bet Jay-Z's got his lawyers in overdrive. Not to protect himself from Diddy, but from public opinion. Jay-Z's entire empire is built on the illusion of untouchability. Rock Nation? Untouchable. His marriage to Beyoncé? Untouchable. But now, with Diddy singing in solitary like he's rehearsing for a Broadway comeback, the cracks are beginning to show. You know the saying, when the ship goes down, even the captain grabs a life jacket. And that life jacket might be a very public, very awkward confession. Not in a courtroom, though. Oh, no. Jay-Z wouldn't stoop to that. If he talks, he'll do it behind closed doors, with a fancy lawyer. Saying, "My client has no comment," while Beyoncé releases an empowering anthem to distract the masses. But what happens if Diddy gets a hold of a pen? Think about that. A tell-all book from prison. The Gospel According to Brother Love. In it, every celebrity secret spilled. Every closed-door freak-off turned into a chapter title. Every handshake deal laid bare, Jay-Z wouldn't survive the press tour, let alone the public fallout. He'd have to go underground like it's 1997 and he's dodging street beef. And let's not ignore the fact that Diddy's got nothing to lose anymore. He's already fighting for his life, both legally and publicly. That makes him dangerous. The kind of dangerous that sends chills through Roc Nation boardrooms. The kind of dangerous that makes you check your closet for wiretaps. The kind of danger that suddenly gets your old associates calling to say, "Hey man, remember that time we didn't do anything illegal? Just wanted to remind you." Now, let's talk about timing. These lawsuits didn't appear out of nowhere. They're lining up like they're auditioning for a reboot of Law & Order Hip Hop Crimes Unit. And Diddy and Jay-Z, they're the main plot line. Every deposition, every witness, every piece of misplaced evidence suddenly pointing to a web much bigger than anyone expected. This isn't just about a party gone wrong. This is about a decades-long culture of silence being ripped apart at the seams. And yet, the industry remains quiet. Deafeningly so. Where are the statements from other moguls? Instagram posts? The carefully worded tweets of solidarity? Nowhere. Because everyone's waiting, watching, calculating their chances of being named next. In this game, it's not about who's guilty, it's about who gets caught. And Jay-Z? He's trying to make sure his name gets buried under NDA agreements and expensive PR. But Diddy won't let that happen, not anymore. Behind bars, stripped of the lavish lifestyle and private jets, all he's got left is his voice, and apparently he's ready to use it. Word on the cell block is he's been name-dropping like it's 2001 again. Only this time, he's not promoting artists, he's implicating co-conspirators, Jay-Z being first on the list. Because, remember, Diddy's entire empire didn't build itself. Someone had to bankroll it, protect it, clear the path for the chaos to grow in peace. And allegedly, that someone wore designer suits, sipped Ace of Spades and dropped platinum albums about hustling. Now the narrative is shifting, from moguls making moves to partners in crime with matching mugshots. And let's not act like the fans don't notice. Social media is lit with theories, memes, and timelines. People are connecting dots like they're building a conspiracy quilt. Some even say Jay-Z's recent public appearances are damage control in real time, smiling too hard, posing too often, and Beyoncé playing the silent queen. But everyone knows she's got her ear to the ground, hearing every whisper about her name showing up in court documents. But the most twisted part? This entire drama is being played like a chess game. Only these pieces have criminal records and publicists. Diddy's threat to Jay-Z wasn't a warning, it was a checkmate move. "You snitched" wasn't just prison talk, it was a calculated message, letting Jay-Z know, your secrets aren't safe anymore. The walls are closing in, and your silence won't protect you forever. And if Diddy starts talking on the record, actual official statements, it's over, all of it. The brands, the Grammy performances, the perfectly curated Ivy Park collections. Jay-Z's billion-dollar legacy could crumble faster than a live stream apology. And if he did snitch, whether in whisper or in writing, his rep as the untouchable mastermind is finished. No one buys music from a rat. And definitely not from one who pretended he was above it all. So what's next? Jailhouse interviews, leaked recordings, an accidental document drop that implicates half of the industry? At this rate, nothing's off the table. Not even another mogul suddenly finding themselves at the center of a scandal they thought they'd dodged. Because Diddy's not just pointing fingers, he's swinging with both fists. And Jay-Z? He better hope that a billion-dollar brand can buy him a miracle. Because Diddy's not going down alone. He's dragging everyone with him, kicking and screaming if he has to. The threat was clear. You snitched. Not whispered, not hidden. A shot fired from behind bars, echoing through boardrooms, private islands, and secret tunnels alike. And that, my friends, is what happens when a culture of silence collides with a man who's finally got nothing left to lose. The rap game may never recover. By what you just watched? Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and leave a comment. Do you think Jay-Z really snitched, or is Diddy bluffing from behind bars? Let's hear it. This saga isn't over, and neither are we.